Alright, what's up, folks? Welcome to Foreign and Domestic. It is good to be here, good to see everyone out there. And I'm going to throw it over to my good brother, Jason Stewart, to get us started off right. If you would, sir.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Everybody, take your hats off, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated.
Amen.
Alan, what's going on, brother?
Oh man, been a been a crazy week here in the middle of flipping Iowa, and of course, when I want to go out and do some work on the range, it's pouring rain, and just wouldn't have been that great of a time. I do want to tell you that tonight's episode of Foreign or Domestic is not brought to you by Liberal Tears hand sanitizer. Liberal Tears for when you've been touching shit you shouldn't touch. Hand sanitizer from Liberal Tears. Not brought to you by, not not endorsed by many, but nevertheless, it's sitting on my desk. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and look over this list here that says who's all here and who's not. So if you're a participant, Ashley A., Daniel, God is my judge, Duffer, Edward Petty, Issei, we got Jesse O out there, JH586, Kingpin, the Lakeview Outdoors, M. Gabriel, Michael Hurtneck, New York Outcast, Rich White, the Tactical Fud. We got Ron Wayne, Tim S. And lots of people out there coming in. Good to see everybody, except for that YouTube auditor. You could always go eat a bowl of dicks.
Alright, and for Daniel out there, I do have a couple other links out there for other people, so we're waiting on a couple other guests. So hang tight, man. If they don't show up, then we'll send you a link. But trying to get some other people on here, so hang tight. With that being said, we have the one, the only, the man with the best eyebrows on YouTube, Battle Bean himself. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, first of all, thank you guys for having me here. It's been another interesting week so far, and just appreciate the invite and glad I got a chance to come in and say hey to everybody.
Always good to have you, man. Appreciate showing up. And then we have my good friend, my good brother, Jason Stewart. What's going on, man?
Oh, man, everything's going on the way it always goes on, man. I live a pretty good life, but I'm glad to spend some of it with you guys, man. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, say it and so is Kingpin.
It
What's
is
going on,
not the
Kingpin?
10 pin. It is not the any other pin, but the Kingpin. How's it going, Kingpin?
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for the invite. Hello, everybody out in the chat. Appreciate you.
All right. So, Alan, you said you were trying to work on the range this week. So, what you got going on, man?
I I am still trying to get my pistol range finished, man, and it is with the hours that I pull and what limited time I have off, it just hasn't been happening. I haven't been able to get out there and get it done. Um, it for me to take time off during the week is just unheard of, and then I typically end up working 6 days a week. So the one day that I do have off, of course, this week it's dumping rain, and I need to go out and do some mowing. I need to set some more railroad ties, and it just not a good situation when it's pouring rain out. Um, so yeah, I was kind of disappointed. I was planning on going out there this weekend and doing a little bit of more setup and work on the range itself, but it just didn't end up happening for me.
Yeah, we got Rich out there. He's having some issues. Rich, hopefully it's not too major, man. So if you need something, let me know. Jason, you've been working on some big ass houses, dude. What's going on with that?
Oh man, that's what I do every day right there. Uh, Sometimes, most times, 7 days a week, but doing it for 20 years, man. Just I build whole neighborhoods. I really don't do houses like scattered out. They're like all in a row. So it's been market's been good up until this year, but I still stay busy, man. I can't say it's hard work anymore because I actually love my job, man. It's real easy. I'm real good at it, and yeah, that's just what I do every day, man. I'm gonna try to get some videos going. I didn't have my helper all week, so I'm gonna get her to maybe film some stuff, and I'll show you guys some carpentry tricks. I'll show you how you cut stuff, what angles that you cut stuff at, and how you put it together, and nail it real quick. It's some little tricks of the trade that us carpenters usually don't share, but I've been wanting to do it for a long time. So I'm starting to get fired up about some videos. So I'm going to try to work on that.
Awesome, man. Being good at it's half the battle.
Yeah, I've been really kind of itching to get my pistol range built up because I've been slowly building up some quiet rounds as best as I can. I've still been using 115 grain projectiles, but I've been dialing down the powder a bit, um, and I'm really curious. And it's kind of a slightly meh game where my cutoff's going to be, where I don't worry that much about squib loads, even though you still worry about them. You still keep an ear for them out when you're shooting everything else, even with full power loads. You still need to be paying attention. Yet I've been dialing back some powder, and I've got a bunch of rounds built up, and so I plan on running those through some pistols just to make sure that I'm still getting full cycles, everything else for when the can comes in. That's even going to be a little bit better. Um, it just pains me to buy factory rounds unless I have other people shooting. Um, so I trying to figure out a good recipe with the supplies that I've got to create subsonic rounds.
If you were going to buy factory rounds to take apart and rebuild, would you knock out the primer, or would you keep the primer until the factory primer's spent?
Well, if I was taking factory rounds and just trying to rebuild them for some reason, I would leave the primer in it. Um, it yeah, you might as well. It's still a good primer as long as what you're buying has got a decent primer in it already. I wouldn't be too concerned about it. But trying to make subsonic rounds, my normal range projectile is just a 115 grain for the 9 millimeter, and so I bumped that all the way up to a 147 grain and dialed back the powder. Um, so hopefully I can stay underneath the threshold and have some have a good recipe for some good hush rounds.
Do you think
You know,
that the hollow point helps you achieve subsonic, or does the fragmentation of the bullet mess up the way that the speed of it works? Like basically, what I'm saying is, can you go slower if you use a hollow point as opposed to a full metal jacket?
I don't know if anybody's ever actually tested that. I haven't seen anything to that extent yet. Um, the rounds that I'm building for straight subsonic range use, I'm not using hollow points for those. I'm using like full metal jacket, round nose, 147 grain, or even semi flat nose. Um, yeah, with I didn't even contemplate actually using hollow point projectiles when building this subsonic round.
well, you can run a hollow point. If it goes too slow, then it's not going to expand at all, right? So that kind of negates the fact of running a hollow point. Your hollow point's really like you're wanting for in a handgun. We'll just call it self defense, right? You want that bullet to mushroom out and expand. Well, it's going to need a certain amount of speed and energy when it hits something to make it expand. Uh, I think going slow is not what you want with a hollow point, right?
Yeah, ultimately you don't. With fragmenting and especially hollow points, you want a little bit more oomph behind it, because that ultimately is what's gonna when it hits a barrier, that's when it's actually gonna expand. If you're running low powers and hollow points, the chances of it expanding are minimal.
Did you say you were loading up some stuff with 147 grain?
Yeah, using 147 grain, either semi flat nose or round nose, and just going with a larger projectile than I normally use for my range ammo, and dialing back the powder, to try to stay underneath the barrier, underneath the sound barrier, and just create hush rounds for the range. Um, yeah, I wouldn't be I if I planned on using it for self defense, I'm going to use my standard self defense rounds. And so I do plan on using those at the range, so that I know exactly how it handles, what it feels like, what it sounds like. I actually even intend on doing some indoor shooting with it, because that's the purpose and why I'm getting the suppressor that I am. It's for if I have to use it to defend myself inside my home.
I shot a lot of 150 grain of that Castrol Syntec, and it's only traveling at like 900 feet. And man, it's some real smooth, nice shooting, very accurate for me. But I was thinking about trying out that new Lee 147 grain. I don't have that mold yet, so I was thinking about trying to get one of those and then try to run something around that area, 900, 920 feet.
Yeah, I do like running 127s in my self defense rounds, even though the mass majority of my range ammo, like I said, is 115s. I do still roll some rounds with 127 projectiles, just because there is a slight difference. You can feel the difference as long as you're tuned into what you're doing. Um, and so a lot of times I end up I cycle through my self defense rounds pretty much every time I go shooting. I'll go through a mag or three of the self defense rounds, and even though I only use factory loaded rounds as my self defense rounds that I actually carry.
No, that's a great topic right there. So, battle being, how often do you go through your self defense rounds?
Usually, I only keep them for about a year, and after that, I shoot them up and then give me another box. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, Kingpin, what about you, man?
Yeah, I don't carry a gun, so I never go through my carry rounds.
Oh, there's that. You live in a communist state, you can't carry. So, Jason, what about you, brother?
What I'm using for a carry round is that I think it's federal. It's the American Gunner, but it has the. If you look at the specs, it's the same thing as like critical duty or active duty or something like that. Uh, I don't know. I got it. It's kind of a, it's double the price and they're smaller boxes. I got 3 mags loaded right now, and I got a few extra boxes, but I pretty much only when I'm at the range will use it and just run through like one magazine of it, just make sure everything's going okay and everything's right, and I don't really go through it too much, man. I ran a couple boxes through it first, made sure everything was all right, never had a problem. But the same ones have been loaded in my mags for a while. I don't know if that's good or bad, but so far I haven't had any issues when I go to try them.
I think a big part of that is just paying attention to what's going on, making sure you're not getting any seat back as far as when you reload that round, if you're having any setback in the bullet, um, any changing color, things like that are things to look for. Um,
I guess
generally, in
so.
about generally in about every 3 to 6 months, I'll fire off what I have and then I'll buy more.
I would say to add to that point, how often you guys clean your magazines? Because I don't know, maybe I'm just a bit of a stickler, but if I'm carrying that thing, it's gonna carry gonna start getting all kinds of you know, anything really from your clothing, and believe it or not, it has a way of getting itself either in the pistol or in the magazine. I have a tendency of cleaning that stuff. I think my biggest worry is when I need to use it, that I'm able to use it, kind of thing, you know.
I got a question for you, Jason, because you carry revolver probably more than most people. Uh, since you don't have to worry about bullet setback, how often do you go through your revolver carry, uh, self defense, round?
As far as revolvers go, I don't shoot off near as many as I would in a semi-auto. Um, Revolver wise, generally you don't have any issues with ammunition whatsoever. Um, Check it and make sure there's no discoloration, there's nothing else going on. Um, and as soon as I see anything like that, I'll pull them and change them out. But in general, I've never really had that many issues as far as revolvers go. So literally, you can sit there with a revolver for a good bit, pretty much almost a year, and not have an issue. But again, just look for various signs of what's going on. You live in an area that's got a lot more humidity and all that, then you really got to pay more attention to what's going on with your ammunition.
And that's why they make those pretty nickel cases too.
Well, I was gonna say the last rounds I have right now that I still have at this point in time in the revolver that I have on me at this point, they are nickel cases, and they are ones that I got from Mrs. Holster that were Mr. Holsters, and I've had those probably in this gun for the last year. And there's no issues as far as discoloration. There's no issues with anything else as far as they go. And I have shot half the box of that ammunition through it and never had a problem.
Those nickel coated cases are just brass cases coated with nickel, right?
No.
Okay, well then my next question is, does that reload as easy as a brass case? So, for instance, if you fire off a nickel round, is that trash, or can you reload that just as easy as brass?
You can reload nickel cases as well as brass. The thing with nickel versus brass is nickel's not as soft. So brass is very soft, nickel's not.
So what
So
you're
if
saying,
you're
King?
gonna have nickel cases and you're gonna reload them, one of the big things that I would say is make sure that you are using case lube because they are a lot harder versus brass cases.
So one thing, Kingpin, because you're working the metal, it's going to get brittle faster, so you're going to get typically less reloads out of a nickel case than a brass case. But I didn't know it till a year or so ago, and Gene reloading from the hot pot, uh, he informed me that not all nickel cases are nickel though. Sometimes they're nickel plated steel. So if you got your nickel cases or your range picked them up or you bought them or something, you need to check them with a magnet and make sure they don't have steel in them.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to get at because I didn't know that there was even a such thing as nickel until about 2 years ago. And then I started seeing shiny cases, and I was like, ah, what's that about? And then obviously you guys explained all that to me. So I thought it was just all coating. I didn't know there was straight nickel cases.
Yeah, they're okay. It's the aluminum ones that you don't reload. You just throw them away.
Well, that's kind of a little battle right there. Daniel says he's never had a nickel case crack, and then West Covina says that they crack all the time.
Well, Daniel probably just don't load them hot enough.
Well, I mean, if you listen to Val, Daniel has all kinds of problems reloading anyway. So, you know,
Yeah, but we're not supposed to. Who listens to Val?
I mean, no one does. I mean, who listens to the Russian? Ron Wayne says he's had a few crack in nickel too. I haven't had any problems with nickel so far, but majority of what I load is all brass, but I do have some in nickel. Never had an issue so far.
Quick
Yeah,
question.
I do separate my nickel plated cases. I always considered them nickel plated. I don't think I've ever actually had steel coated in nickel. I could be wrong. Um, I'm really kind of interested in the process that like Liberty Ammunition does, where it's a nickel plated brass case, but it's a black nickel coating. It's not like it's oxidized. I don't understand how they're getting black nickel um, on those cases when it's a brass coated case. But yeah, I don't understand how Liberty Ammunition is doing that.
All right, so on a little bit of a lighter note, let's talk about Lakeview and where we're at and what's going on there as far as the Winchester rifle. Um, So you guys out there, if you don't know, Edward Petty, our good brother out there, he's out there in side chat, threw up a unfired Winchester in 30-30, and at this point in time, we are at $850 out of the 2,000, which is the goal before we give it away. So we're almost halfway, which is pretty freaking awesome. It's only been about a week and a half or so since I posted that video, so that's pretty dang good. We're almost halfway already. So if you guys want in on that, if you're interested, in the description, my email is right there. Shoot me an email. Let me know you want in, and we'll make that happen. But we do have to hit that 2,000 mark before we give it away. And I did talk with Edward earlier today because Edward was a little concerned, and I told him, "Hey man, look, no need to be concerned because I set a goal and I will hit that goal. Period. It will happen. There's no issues there. It will happen. It ain't getting given away until we hit that goal. Period. So I know you guys will make it happen. I have faith in you. I've seen it happen many times over these years, and I hate saying that, but we've done so many different things over the years, and you guys have all stepped up to the plate. So I have no doubt in my mind that you will make it happen."
Yeah, I second that. Why am I getting an echo? What the hell? You guys getting an echo when I talk? No?
A little bit.
Okay.
Thank God he's gone. Oh, there he is.
Hey, what are you talking shit, man? All I did was refresh, you shithead. This fucking guy, I tell you, man. See the abuse I have to put up with in this fucking place. The abuse.
I want y'all to witness this. The greatest eyebrows on YouTube. You're welcome.
There it is. Hey.
Hey.
And now Mario's getting into the podcasting, so he's really stepped up his game. He was running one of these blue Yetis. Now I don't know what that thing is. It's some like long black dick dong thing. Maybe that's what it is.
What
I
the
don't know.
fuck? Man, see,
No,
wait, you always talking shit.
That's an excellent thing that you bring up. So, Battle Bean, please talk
Yes.
about that, brother.
Yes, this is a Mayono freaking mic that I got. Now I still have my other one. This is your silver dick dong that you like. There you go. So what I have is the reason why I have both of these mics is that there's times I'm gonna have somebody with me, and they'll be using this uh, as the other microphone that I'll be using. So with that being said, with the podcast, as everything's coming up, I should have it all complete right before the end of the month, which would be great. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to have at least 2 or 3 episodes completed before I go live, because most likely once I sent the first one in, usually that they're going to want maybe 1 or 2, and then we'll go from there. And so I'm looking forward to that. Trying to link up with some of my brothers that I've served with, and also some of new veteran friends that that I want to feature in there eventually. When I'm bored, I'm probably gonna feature somebody like Daniel, because uh, Navy's got to have representation too.
Well. Do me a favor, brother. Explain exactly what it is, so people out there know what's going on. If they haven't seen your video about what it is, can you explain what it is?
Oh yes, the podcast is going to be called Veterans Point of View. The purpose of the podcast is really just to give a voice to veterans. Many veterans have a tendency of not being able to tell their life story or what they did in the military. And in some cases, they don't, like their loved ones don't get to really know anything about their service until they're passed away, when they see articles or they meet friends that they serve with. So I kind of want to be able to give a voice to other veterans, so they can tell me a little bit um, about their lifetime, and what they endure, whether it was through peacetime or through wartime, and how they were able to transition and become effective. And so yeah, so that's pretty much what I want to do. The podcast is also going to be talking about veteran and their benefits. I think it's a tragedy that a lot of the veterans beneficiaries, like their dependents, don't take advantage of a lot of the benefits that they're out there for them. So I kind of want to talk about that as well. And also want to just kind of reiterate some of my past videos that I've done in my YouTube channel, where I talk about PTSD and how this affects you. Like I've always I've done those videos really just to give somebody else an opportunity to know, or what the thought process is for most people out there. And so I kind of use myself as a example as to how I deal with my everyday goings within life. And it's been a very positive review, um, positive uh, feedback from the community. So I'm really
Well,
appreciative of that. So yeah.
it's an awesome idea, brother. I like it, and I'll help you any way I can. So you got anything you need. You need people to jump on. If I can send someone your way, I'll send them your way. Just tell me the word.
Yeah, absolutely. What I really would like to really get to know is Vietnam veterans. Also anybody who might have served in Desert Storm. Those are the guys, because unfortunately it'll be really hard for me to find a World War II or Korea veteran nowadays, and for anybody, and not sure how many of them could recollect their past experiences. So yeah, I would definitely hit you guys up once we get everything going. I've been going through Buzzsprout to do start working on my artwork for the channel, and also some of the content. So yeah, it Buzzsprout's been really awesome. I really appreciate it. So I'm looking forward to finalizing everything. And as soon as I do, I'll definitely send an email. Not only an email, but I'll make a video. So please be on the lookout for that, where I'll be kind of pointing you guys to a link to the podcast where you guys can actually access it and all that good stuff. And one thing I do like about Buzzsprout is that it doesn't matter what you have, whether it's iTunes or whatever other platform that you use on an everyday basis. You're able to access the podcast, and that's one thing I do like about that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I tell you, I'll send you guys more info on that, and I'm looking forward to getting started on that.
Absolutely, man. Shoot me a text of what you're talking about is, because I'm not sure I've heard that one before. Um, but yeah, no, I know a couple of different people that I can send your way that would probably jump on and help out for sure.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, Jason, you're pretty quiet, man. What's going on?
Oh, just not a whole lot, man. It is getting quiet. We need to liven it up in here a little bit. Anybody got any new guns? Any new gun stuff or anything?
No, I don't mind volunteering you for something though. You know what would be a pretty fantastic video for you to share with us is the polish job you did on that revolver of yours, Jason Stewart.
You know, brother, that is a good idea. Thanks for the motivation. I was sitting here today and I was thinking, so I still got to do the other side of it. I was thinking about making a video of polishing on the other side. That is a real good idea, man. I could just show you what it. I mean, I can't sit there and show you like 10 hours of polishing, but I could show you a few passes on stuff and compare side to side so you can see what it looked like stock and what it looks like now. So that is a great idea, man. That just I already had that in mind. So thanks for the motivation, brother. I just got too much on my plate, man. That polishing, I'm not gonna lie, man. It does a toll on your hands, especially when you're an old guy like me. You'll pay for it. You'll pay for it for a few days.
It's a very slow and tedious process.
Yes, it is, but it's so worth it. I mean, I've got a lot of other pistols that I put like a lot of time in. You know, that I would consider back in 3-4 hours, and just came out lovely. But this one, I'm taking it up to the next level, man. This is some serious polishing. It probably could have stopped a long time ago, but you know, why not, man? Just keep going. It's a nice one. It's a brand new Python, so you know it deserves a little bit of love. But I just got sidetracked. Like today, my new stock came in the mail. I bought the Magpul Hunter stock. Seems to be pretty popular with people. And I bought it, and then I found out it didn't come with everything I need. So I had to go back and order a bunch of stuff. So I couldn't actually put it together today. But having fun with that. So I just get sidetracked. I got so many guns, so many projects. It's so little time. But that is a great idea. I'm glad if people have interest in it, and I will go ahead and show you a polishing video.
Wax on, wax off.
That's typical, though, man. You order something, it shows up, and it doesn't have everything you need. That's typical.
Yeah. I didn't know how to. I had to order the kit to change it to magazine fed. I didn't know I had to order that separate. And then, since it's a Remington rifle, they came out with a little adapter to run a Remington Supercell recoil pad on the end of it. And I just happened to have a couple of those, and they're almost unattainium at the moment. So I got the kit.
We have someone out there who wants to see your Python, your actual Python.
Hey man, I know you guys crack on them, and there's a lot of bad reviews about the brand new Pythons. But let me tell you, the rest of my collection is Smith & Wessons from the 1980s and 686s. I have no dashes. I have dash ones. I have dash twos, and I have a dash three. And those are great guns. Those are the guns that I measure a good revolver from. And I'm picky about stuff. And you know, I know the reviews come out on those Pythons when they came out, but I waited about a year, let them get their act together, and I have 3 of them now, and they're a great gun. Yeah, they don't have the lightest of trigger like the old Smiths do, but other than that, the fit, the quality of them, it's nice, and they're much easier. They're so easy to take apart and put back together. There's a lot of benefits to that new gun. So I know a lot of people hack on them and say it ain't the same and this and that, but in my opinion of it, man, they are a very well put together. They are a very good gun, and to be able to get something that's brand new and not something that's 40 years old, you know, there's something you can buy now and wear it out yourself. I highly recommend them Pythons. They are a huge step above a modern Hillary Hole Smith & Wesson. They just really are. They're a good built gun. I wouldn't
Well,
listen to
and
people's
what
negative about
people
them.
what people need to realize is they're never gonna be the same. You're like me. You have a lot of old Smiths, man, and you cannot take something brand new and compare it to that and expect the same thing. You're never gonna see it. Never. You're just not. They use different parts. They use MIM parts. They use this, that, the other. You're never gonna have the same as far as what it was back then.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be a dick about it or anything, but for my recommendation, if you wanted to go buy a new revolver, I would for 357. I would get a Colt Python. Uh, you will be happy with it, and that's all that I'm really concerned with is you're happy with it. It's a good solid gun. It really is. I haven't seen a single problem yet. I haven't seen a single thing about the gun that I was negative about, or as a distraction, or I wish was better, or I was ashamed of. There's none of that, man. It is. They are very well built.
And we have a good friend of mine out there. We got Edward Patty. And for those of you that don't know Edward Petty started making videos. And I encourage you to encourage him to make more. He's done a great job so far. He doesn't think he's doing so, but trust me, he is. And brother, I hope to see more from you and show some of those Colts because you have a lot of different things. He's a Smith guy as well. But he will tell you, just like you're saying, man, they're never going to be the same. They're always going to be different. The old school is the old school. And, that's why a bunch of us just stick with old school because of what we know of what we've experienced over the years. So for me, it's having that pendant recessed. It's having that trigger, the hammer, and all these different things in a certain specific way. And that's just what I'm a fan of. And others have their preferences. That's just my preferences.
I wish Colt would come out with a blued one though. I don't even care if they made it cost more or whatever. They need to make a blue one.
I think one of the big reasons they haven't is because they don't have the capability of blue in the same way they used to.
Yes, that is true. The bluing is not what it used to be.
That thing looked like purple, like a freaking Barney gun.
And it's a big problem with Smith too. Smith came out with these newer ones, and they call them the classics, and so on and so forth. But the blue one is nowhere near the same.
Yeah, it's pretty dull, isn't it?
It's pretty bad, man.
I wouldn't I just told you I'd recommend the Pythons, but if you can come across a 686 and it's like a -3 or something, you buy that. Don't buy the Python. But I would love to buy a new Smith. I like Smith and Wessons. I just don't like their newer revolvers.
All right.
Triggers have been nice on some. Some that I've seen not so nice a trigger, but there's just something about them. There's something about the grips they put on them nowadays, and when you get them from the factory, they're not very polished. There's just something about the new Smiths I just think they could do a better job with.
So we have an excellent question out there from New York Outcast, which is rare. But he asks, why did they change the bluing process? It's a very simple thing. They changed it because of the cost. And unfortunately, it doesn't hold up as well with what they use nowadays. So back in the day of what they used, it would withstand heat, humidity, and so much better than the process they use nowadays. And that could be part of the metallurgy and all that they do as well. I don't know what they changed as far as the frames and all the rest of it itself. I'm not that deep into it, but that makes a huge difference as well. But everything they did it because of cost. If you go and look at all the newer ones they're coming out with, they call it the classic models. They have MEM parts. MEM parts are basically a manufactured part that they've used in a machine that is way cheaper than having someone else make it. 90% of that stuff comes from China and so on and so forth. So there's where your cost cutting comes in and so on and so forth. So,
Yeah,
but
you
the
know, I
bluing
might.
process, again, I'm not sure exactly where they cut that cost. It could be material itself. I'm not 100% sure, but there's a lot of differences they've changed over the years, and it's just not the same. If you look at an old school Smith and Wesson versus one that they call the classic, the old school Smith and Wesson is a lot darker, and it holds the blue in better. And if you look at them under a bright light, you will see the difference clearly. And that's where it really takes. You put them both under a bright light, you'll see it immediately. The difference stands out right then and there.
You know, I would have raised hell and called blasphemy and everything a few years ago. But now that I know a little more and seen a little more than I did then, actually, in some cases on firearms nowadays, I would prefer Cerakote over a cheap bluing job. You know what I mean? The Cerakote's going to be much more durable, much more usable for every day, and still look okay. I mean, believe me, it took me a while to even think about saying that because Cerakote, you know. But for nowadays, I would take Cerakote over a blue job on most pistols.
If it works for the military, it works for everything else, brother.
You also got to
There you go.
remember. You also got to remember half the time we were seeing Cerakote guns, it was obnoxious and snob doing all that ridiculous stuff they were doing, Jason.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, this might surprise you, but like my nicest 1911, my Nighthawk, that gun's Cerakoted.
All right. So, Jason, for those out there that don't know what Cerakote is, what's the Cerakote?
I don't know. I guess I could be hillbilly about it and say it's paint. It's painted. It's not blue. It's painted. Uh, it's just the new process nowadays. Most of your striker fire guns, the metal slide on top is going to be Cerakoted. It's just more durable and more everyday friendly. Whereas the blue, if something's blued, you're going to have to take care of it. Your fingerprints are going to rust it. It's going to scratch easy. Uh, the blue's more designed for, I'd say, like a classic firearm, and your Cerakote is just much more usable for your daily carry or let's say sub $1,000 guns or whatever. But the beauty about bluing though is if you pick a particular firearm or go get a Colt 1911 or an upgrade 1911 or even buy a Smith. There's options if you'd send them back to the factory, send them back to the custom shop. Oh, you could get some bluing jobs that are, just museum quality, beautiful, but you're gonna pay for it.
I've seen some incredible bluing jobs over the years, man. And ones to where I'm scared to just pick them up and touch them. They're that damn good.
Yeah, Colt has Colt has a few series. They have blue, then they have national match blue, and then they have like a royal blue that is really really sweet. But you have to send that in for custom work, and it'll double the price.
And Christian's 100% right, man. Sometimes that painted stuff works, but other times you just gotta have that blue. And
Yeah, it
you
depends
know,
on the firearm. It really does.
it really does, man. And if you're gonna have an old school Smith or you're gonna have an old school Colt, it's the way to go.
Oh yes, yeah. I'm not suggesting you take a old classic revolver that was blued, Cerakote it, unless that's what's needed for the restoration. But there's nothing wrong with Cerakote. Like I said, I just rather have it than a cheap blue job for certain guns. Like if they made a nice Cerakoted revolver tomorrow, I'd buy it.
We got my good brother out there inside Freedom. Good to see you, man. And Edward Petty says it right there. Nothing better than blue steel and wood. Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. One thing I'll bring up since you were talking earlier, and there is the Winchester rifle up for sale, an unfired one, or not up for sale, but up for the drawing for helping Lakeview. But wanted to bring that up because I also collect older Winchesters and Marlins and things. The thing about guns like that, an older lever action, the bluing is so important on those guns. You've got to get the best bluing job you can get, or don't buy it, because the process they used to blue those back in the day doesn't exist anymore. So if you bought something that you're thinking about, oh well, I'll just have the whole rifle re-blued, it's not going to happen. The modern day bluing technologies just will not blue like those pre-64 Winchesters. They just won't do it nice, or it's going to cost you a fortune.
Exactly, brother. And again, if you guys want in on this, it's $50 an entry. Right now we are sitting right around 850, so we have what 1150 to go because we got to reach $2,000 before we give it away. So we're almost halfway there. And Edward threw this out there, and again I talked with him earlier today as well, and he really just wants to give this away to help out the cause. And I assured him we would hit that 2,000 mark, because we will. I ain't a quitter. I don't quit. So we will hit that 2,000 mark. And once we hit that 2,000 mark, we will give it away. So we have a lot of good people out there that have jumped in and entered. And I got a check the other day from Patriot in the Dark. And Patriot in the Dark jumped in with a huge donation. So thank you to Patriot in the Dark. But we have lots of good folks out there doing this. I got an email from Tom earlier, so Tom's also sending some out. So, gonna be there pretty quick. Christian, I think you have my phone number. If you don't, I'll send it to you. Because Zell's my phone number. So, hang on, buddy. I'll send it to you. Alan, we're almost halfway through. You want to go through the side chat, brother?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Lots and lots of great people out there. Couple even jumping in as we speak. Um, been a good conversation. Got a couple of the staples out there as well. Ashley A still at the Christian guest. I don't know. Daniel God is my judge. Duffer, Edward Petty, uh, Hobbies Hobo, Insight Freedom, Jason Stewart, JH586. Got Gabrielle out there. New York Outcast, Reloading from the Hot Pot, Rich White, Ron Wayne, Steve's reworking in Homestead, the stalker himself. Thor's axe, Vallejo, it just keeps going on and on here. Gunpowder Beauty jumping in. Well, there goes the show.
Hey man, everybody go check out Christian Gress. He put out a video of his new rifle build, man. He built a really nice A4 rifle. Go check it out, man. It looks sweet.
We have someone out there who lives in a communist state who thinks $50 is way too much. Yeah. Well, you live in a communist state, so yes, it would be for you. I'm pretty sure you have nothing to complain about.
You know, I don't want to throw the race thing, but
Get your $50 in and shut your fucking mouth.
yeah, get your $50, biatch.
Um, just, just so you know, Scotsman,
Well, bless you, sir. Yeah, that's to some of the people that's new out there, and I'm preaching to the choir, to the people that's been there for a while. This is a wonderful community of people right here. That the people out here in this chat, the people on this show, we step up for one another, man. And the things we do to come up to help people that are just needing a little help right now, man. And for lots of different reasons. This community always comes together, man. I'm so proud of like each and every one of you every single time.
It's a big thing, man. Edward has thrown this rifle out there probably the last 3 or 4 times we've had something come up, and I've told him no every time. And I told him no because I felt like it wasn't the right time. And then this happened, and he brought it up again. And I'm like, yes, it's the right time. And it has proven to be so. But you're right, man. We have so many great folks out there. And it's a testament to the community of what we deal with and who we are and what we stand for. Absolute testament. And people like Edward that step up to the plate and throw things out there like this. It makes a difference.
So, one more thing I wanted to add. I well, I don't know how to really say it, but anyways, I kind of threw my packet in for the CMP. I guess they got nine 911s that are they still have in stock, so decided to throw it in there. I'm not sure if I'll get something like that. I'm not sure if any of you guys ever gotten a 1911 from the CMP, but and I know that they sometimes have their their good and bad comments, but I think my biggest aspect with that is that I wanted something that was used by a soldier, whether and I like the fact that those pistols say property U.S. Army. It's just I don't know, a little nostalgic, little something I like. So you know, just wondering if anybody's ever got a CMP 1911.
no, that definitely something I would love to have in hand. I can't say that I ever have. I, I would love one.
Uh, uh, so the CMP's got them up for sale. I think I saw them about a year ago, but what's the price for they're asking for?
And they're a little bit overpriced. I think the cheapest one is like at 1100, and the most expensive one I think is at 1300, which is equivalent to like you getting a real nice 1911. But my biggest thing is I just like the fact that it was once used by a soldier, and it also depends on the type of grade that you get. From what I gather so far, a lot of people have been getting field grades, and I've seen a lot of videos on them, and they're actually pretty decent pistols. But yeah, it's just it, they're interesting. I just think to me is the more the nostalgic aspect of it. A majority of them are Ithaca or Remington Rand or Colt, so pretty interesting.
One of the big things you got to pay attention to whenever you get into that stuff is paying attention to the serial numbers and paying attention to, do they all match, and what's going on with what you have. When you go to CMP, that's one of the big problems you come across is usually they're mismatched.
Yeah, no, and I get that, and but to a certain point, I've noticed that they do have a lot of mismatched parts, and that's I mean, if they have a higher grade, I noticed that the higher grades usually are the ones that have a lot of the matching parts to go along with it. I noticed the ones that are rack grade, those are the ones that just kind of get makeshift put up, and they just send them out.
Right. And again, if you want just a basic field grade, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But just bear in mind, you're not going to see 100% matching parts. You want something that's 100% matching parts, you're paying for it.
Oh yeah, I know. Or other than that, I would need to go through a collector, which I'll be paying some serious dollars, and that's not what I want. I if anything, want to just support the CMP because I still think that what they do there, it's a valuable asset for the gun community itself. At the same time, just be able to, have something that was once used by a soldier. It's a little nostalgic for me, so that's one of the things that I like about it.
Absolutely, man. It's a cool thing they do, and I've always supported it. But again, it's just something that people have got to pay attention to. There's a lot of different aspects that come with buying something that's a milsurp.
And you'd be surprised how much information they really do put in their website. I just think if people just take the time to read the description and read everything that's being put on those websites, they usually they know what they're getting themselves into. Like and of course, there's always going to be that one idiot that makes a video and complains about it. But I'm like, did you read the website? Because I read the website and it was very specific as to what each grade has and what it entails and stuff like that.
Well, and the big thing there, and I'll say it like this: it's like looking at Amazon. How many of you go on Amazon? You look at Amazon, you look at Amazon reviews, and you start reading some of the comments on the reviews of what people have said, and they start going off with, "Well, this happened and that happened, and I did this," and then they start blaming the product. Well, you just said you did this, so you fucked up. Pretty sure it wasn't the product's fault. You fucked up, but they start blaming the product. So you got to be
Mm.
careful about what you read. Pay attention to what's going on. And when it comes to mail serve stuff, especially, there's a lot of different things that come into play. And again,
Yeah.
pay attention to the serial numbers. Pay attention to the parts. Are they matching parts? Not matching parts. Are there different things going on as far as the bayonet that may go with that rifle, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of different things that come into play when it comes to milsurp rifles.
Yeah, and one of the things that I just noticed like this past weekend, I shot my Mosin, and the rear sight, the little spring, the little plate that it has, it broke on me. But you stop and think about it, how long? I mean, this is a 1950 rifle, man. You imagine how long this thing has gone through and shot maybe a couple hundred rounds, and then somehow that little plate broke on me, which is kind of weird. But what's great about it is there's plenty of parts for that stuff. So Was able to get one shipped to me already. So yeah, I like Milsurf stuff, man. I just think it's cool. It's nostalgic. I like the fact that I'm sure if that rifle could, my rifles could, just like a lot of you guys that have a lot of Milsurf weapons, if they could tell the story, man, the stuff that they would tell. And I think another thing that I really like about Milsurf weapons is the fact that those things were made to last. I mean, nowadays we have these polymer wonder guns and stuff like that. A lot of the stuff doesn't last like it used to. I mean, you're looking at some of the stuff that a lot of these military service weapons have nowadays. Man, some of these things are just been through quite a bit and are running flawlessly.
Let me jump in there and circle back just a minute, Jinsaki, my way back to what Mario just said about these guns from CMP and the mill surplus. Um, One of the benefits that comes to it that I've found like really fascinating, really entertaining, is you can get one of these guns and you can kind of research the history and you can educate yourself and you can get a nice history lesson and you can backtrack and try to figure out, where has this gun been? What has it seen? You know what I mean? You don't get that when you just walk into the gun store and buy something brand new. You know, um, like I have a M1 Garand, and I love that gun. It's a fabulous gun. CMP did a wonderful job on that, and it was a lot of fun to sit and research and find out not only where'd that gun go when it was made. You can go back and find out like it was on this shipment of so many thousand guns, and mine was sent to the Philippines. And then you can learn and read and investigate, and you can find out, it came back to the CMP through a shipment from them, and you kind of get a history lesson with it, man. And like I said, you don't get that with off the shelf stuff. And the nicer stuff, if you go buy yourself like a Garand or something the CMP offers, with the Garand you can join the Garand Collectors Club. That's like associated with the CMP, and every month I get or 2 months or so I get a magazine, and there's always a story in there where the people in the CMP they find a rifle or they have a rifle and they backtrack that serial number and they go back and try to find if that veteran is still alive. And then they represent that veteran with the rifle that he was issued many years ago when he was in the service. And I've got several magazines where they show you they took the rifle and they opened it up, and there's the guy's dope sheet from when he was 18 years old, and they go present that rifle and give it to that veteran. That's just beyond cool. That takes a lot of work to backtrack and research and try to find like handwritten records from 80 years ago. I mean, that's crazy, but they do it, and I give them a thumbs up for that.
I would love to get my old M16 A3, the one that I originally took to Iraq. I actually got into a freaking fit because I didn't want to turn it in. I didn't want to turn that in. I didn't want to turn in my M9, and I was mad. I actually almost got freaking like in serious trouble, like talking about they're gonna court martial me kind of thing. Because I was like, I am not giving up my rifle and my pistol. They're like, no, you have to turn it in, dude. Like I actually held up the freaking the plane because of it, man. I was just so adamant about wanting to keep my weapons. I was just mad, because they went through hell with me, and it was just like something I wanted to keep with me, but unfortunately I didn't get my
It's
way.
a big deal, man. It's a big deal. And Christian's out there and says he let his M1 Garen Collectors Association membership lapse. Brother, I'm a member of that too, and I make sure I stay up on that. And I have someone that used to work with me or for me when I lived in Georgia, who still has his original M1 Garand that he was issued, and that is pretty badass. And that
Yeah,
man is someone that you will never want to cross.
yeah. And I did also put a packet for M1 Grand as well. So yeah, I don't see that one being an issue. I'm kind of wanting that 1911, but we'll see how that goes.
Hey, I got one for you, Mario. I'm the big Beretta guy, right? Now, the M9 Beretta that you go buy on the shelves is called the M9 Commercial, and there's just a few differences from what they issued to you, and a lot of it has to do with just basically the grip screws and the cage code and the proof testing marks on the barrels and such. That's really the only difference from and on the hammer and things.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
that you don't get when you just go to the store and buy it.
right.
But where I shop, I came across a military issued M9 Beretta rebuild kit. It's
Hmm.
basically every part. So when I got it and I opened it up, all the parts have the cage code number on them. So
No
now,
kidding. Wow.
so I have an M9. All I did was basically swap out all the plastic parts for metal,
Hmm.
put in slotted grip screws, and threw in the hammer with the cage code number on it, and changed the sights to the M1 sights and not the
M9.
the snowman sights on it.
Yeah.
So basically, I have about as close as you can get, in my opinion, to issued
W-
M9 that you just don't buy off the shelves. I mean, it's not huge. It's not like a great bunch of
Yeah.
changes or whatever. But for me and my personal taste, I wanted something that was as close as you can get. And pretty much that's as close as you can get because
Hmm.
you can't buy a surplus M9. So
No.
you're not going to get those stampings on the stuff. And it's really just the stampings. And if I wanted to, there's really no reason to fake it because they're not available.
Yeah.
So
Well, hopefully within the next 20 years, CMP will get some, and then I could probably buy me a couple of them, and
I,
just give those to my grandson. Like, here you go.
I even it was hard on me because I do a trigger job on everything I own, but I left that gun how it is. It's got that original heavy NATO
Yeah.
spring in it,
And
and
yeah,
it's just it's a blaster I can hold up and say, hey, look, man,
and
here's as close as it gets right
yeah.
here.
Where did you get that kit from?
Oh, I believe I got it from Liberty Tree.
Oh, okay, Liberty Tree. So you said it's called an M9. What?
It's I bought it a few years ago. Uh, I should go look because I would like to have some others. But it was like it was just like a factory overhaul kit. It was like a rebuild kit for the armorers or something, and it came with everything. It came with a new hammer, new sears. It came with the left side grip panel from when they changed from the small pin to the large pin for the slide after the slide broke on a couple. So
Yeah.
it's got the grips on the one side, and those grips have the cage code numbers on them. You get the hammer with the cage code number, and then all the parts, all the safeties, your lanyard loop, the trigger. You get a sear, recoil rod, just everything in it's like a refresh kit, but it's all metal. If you go buy one today, it's gonna have polymer parts in it.
Oh yeah, I know.
But
That's why I didn't want to buy it. That's good stuff, man. I appreciate you letting me know.
yeah, man. Well, I tell you what, if you could buy them, I didn't pay a whole lot for it, actually. I mean, it wasn't an outrageous price. And the main thing of it for me was just getting that hammer out of it with the cage code, because
Oh
that's
yeah.
the unique thing that you're not going to see
Yep.
on other people's stuff.
Good stuff, buddy.
Oh, and I got the. I don't know if they actually. This is just what I read. I don't know if they actually issued them to you or not. Maybe you could tell me. But I grabbed the. Uh, I forget the number on it, but I got the Safari Lane holster,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
one that
That.
holds a plastic cleaning rod in it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I just got my little military tribute version M9.
Yeah, that's cool,
Left
man.
it left it all stock. I didn't do anything other than official Beretta parts on it. Oh, and get this. Our good buddy right over here, Kingpin, he sent me a box full of military issued 15 round magazines, the Checkmate magazines, and they're individually sealed in their package, but I opened one of them. So, like I said, I got a pretty close to military issue M9.
I got a magazine or two for you that for your Berettas that are actual issue, and just because it's you, I'll give you one. I was handed a few from someone who served, so I'll hook you up, man.
Yeah, that gun. I hate to say that I haven't shot it that much, but I've only shot it a little bit. It, it's kind of one that's a little bit special to me. I just like the unique features on the M9. It doesn't have all the writing on it. It doesn't say where it was made on it. It's just got their cage code numbers, and somebody else wouldn't even notice that, but I know that. You know, uh, so that's just one of my guns. I actually had to get that one separate because my first M9, I completely upgraded it to a model that was called a Langdon M9, and they weren't available for sale anymore, so I copied it. And the trigger's just so nice in it, I just couldn't go backwards and reverse that gun, so I had to go buy another commercial M9. But I mean, it's just me. I just like that model. It's nothing special, you know what I mean? It's not like it shoots better than any other one or anything. It's the small touches and the unique things about it that
It's
I
the
just keep
small
it
things that
special.
make the difference, man. And for anyone out there, if you've never seen Jason Stewart's channel, jump over and watch Jason Stewart. If you have any questions whatsoever about Beretta, ask him.
Oh,
And
appreciate
trust
that.
me, trust me, he's the guy that will tell Beretta how it is because he knows, and Beretta will listen.
Yeah, and the one thing I really just gravitate toward 1911s and Berettas and revolvers. I really don't mess around with other stuff, but I just tell you, in the world of the Beretta, they're getting better every day. The newer Berettas, the things that have come out in the last few years, they're full featured guns that have everything that you wanted that you couldn't get 5 years ago, 10 years ago. They've really stepped their game up with just little things like dovetailed sights and checkerings and different things. But back in the day, there's actually, you wouldn't know this, but there's been like I swear to God, like 1,000 different Beretta 92 variants over the years. You don't know about a lot of them, and if you're looking to build a certain gun or acquire certain parts with Beretta, they do stuff for like a year, 2 years, and then it's gone. It's done. It's gone for history. So if you come across certain options, certain prices or parts, or a certain model gun, and you know what it is, you better jump on it because you just can't like go out and buy those unique features
There's
anymore. They're
all
lost.
kinds of options when it comes to Berettas. I will say this though, when it comes to the Beretta APX, I don't know what they did when they started changing things, but when that pistol originally came out, the system was phenomenal. The trigger was freaking awesome, and everything about it was fantastic. And then they changed something, and the trigger that I felt on the last one I pulled was fucking horrendous. And again, I don't know what they changed, but they changed something. And if you look at the stippling they did on the slide, you look at the stippling they did on the actual on the hand guard itself and all around it was all changed. Everything was different. Um, I'm not quite sure why they did all that, but if you've experienced one of the older ones, and then you experience one of the newer ones, you're gonna tell the difference big time in the trigger pull. The trigger is horrendous, and I don't know what they did, but I really wish they would go back to the original trigger.
I've been thinking about this. I really need to make that first gun video for Lakeview. But I'll just tell you real quick on a quick story. Basically, since I've gotten back into guns, my first gun, my first handgun I bought ever brand new, I went and bought a Beretta 92 FS, an Italian model, right? And it was just bone stock. And I came from I was a car guy. I was a gearhead, you know what I mean? And like, I really didn't have any knowledge of firearms. And I knew I liked the Berettas from the movies and such. And I liked it when I felt it in the store. So that's what I bought. And then I come home and I do a little bit of searching and I find out, oh, it's got plastic parts. Ugh, I don't like that at all. That was a shock to my system. So I had to go figure out, oh, they sell metal parts. So then I had to figure out, how do I change the metal parts? And that's how I got started on YouTube. I'd never been on YouTube before until I needed to find out how to change the magazine release on a Beretta. That was like my first getting me into YouTube. So that gun brought me into YouTube. It got me into Berettas and gunsmithing. And I was like happy and excited because it was like I always like shopped at Jegs every day in Summit, you know what I mean? And now I got the firearms and I was like, oh my God, you can buy all this aftermarket stuff. You can buy like upgraded factory stuff. This is awesome. This is right up my alley. So I was like tickled to death. So I went to the Beretta website and I bought everything I could for this gun. I bought nice grips, their trigger stuff, their sights. I did all kinds of stuff to this gun. The first one I got, and I'll tell you right now, this gun is my least favorite gun. It's a Beretta. It's my least favorite gun. Not that it's not nice, but nothing worked out for me. As a new shooter, that gun did not fit me. It didn't work. But what it did is I didn't give up. I saw all these other new models of Berettas and stuff, and I was like, ooh, I like that, but I didn't want to really change the gun I had, so I started buying more Berettas, and I started modifying those guns till they fit me perfect. It didn't matter what the internet said, it didn't matter what all the other people liked. I worked in buying every combination I could till I found a recipe that worked for me. But the reason I'm just like bringing this up to tell you the story is I didn't give up. That if I'd have gave up, I would be on this chat right now typing out there, Berettas suck. They suck. The grips are too thick. Oh, it's too wide. I can't hit nothing. The barrel's crooked. I'd have had a million excuses if I'd have gave up. But that gun gave me so many problems in learning how to shoot and the gun's accuracy itself and the parts changing that I didn't give up, and I progressed on, and I'm thankful for it.
One of the big factors for me was I got an original 92, and I picked it up years ago, and this was probably 2 or 3 years into me being in the firearms world, and I picked this thing up used, obviously, and that thing was super, super accurate. Well, I had that for a year, maybe 2, and they came out with the M9A3. Well, when the M9A3 came out, we got a special offer of, hey, you can buy it for this much. And I kind of turned around and was like, well, hell yeah. And jumped on it, you know. And so I ended up selling the other Beretta and picked up the M9A3, and I still have it to this day. And that M9A3 is super accurate, super smooth. I haven't changed the thing on it. It came with small, medium, and large grips, and I'm pretty sure I still have the medium grips on it. And most of you guys know I have decently sized hands, so I usually go with a larger grip. But the medium grip works well for me.
Rob
Never
said
had
I
an issue.
was Rob said I was sold on the Beretta because of Lethal Weapon, and that is true. Lethal Weapon and Die Hard, that is
Die Hard,
true.
man, best Christmas movie ever.
That's right. But uh, I had the M9 for the collector's reason and the model reason. I also have a 92 FS Law Enforcement Edition, and all I did was convert it what I needed to metal, and I took Gold Tester's model paint, and I did the outline of the Beretta emblems on the grips, and there's my Lethal Weapon pistol right there.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Lethal Weapon and Die Hard, and man, when I first came here and I was able to get my hands on a Beretta 92, I'm like, fuck yeah, man, yeah. I
You know,
finally got one.
the only bitch I got about it is every Beretta I got, they don't shoot smiley faces like that. They get like half a smiley face and then they go, whoa.
It's funny. I've tried the smiley face with the M93, and again, I get about halfway too, brother. I'm not quite there. I'm pretty decent with it, but I'm not to that level.
See, this is actually seriously. This is something I always used to do at the range. I'd get the like the Dirty Bird, like torso silhouette targets, and you had the head up there. So I always go out there and I'd try to start my smiley face. You know what I mean? And I'd get about halfway through and I'd fuck it up on the mouth. You know what I mean? Like you get both eyeballs pretty easy. They're in there. Oh yeah, you get that nose in there, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be a good one. And then you start that mouth, and you screw it up every time. So at that point, I would just stop and drop a magazine, and I'd do a new drill, and it's called erase the face, and I'll just put 17 rounds right through that whole face area and erase my mistake.
Erase the face.
All right, here's my thought. If you wanted to get the smiley face action going on, why not draw the smiley face first and then shoot all the dots so you have something to aim at, and then that way you can get your muscle memory down to where eventually you take the smiley face off and then shoot your own smiley face.
Oh my God, that is excellent advice.
All right, so New York Outcast actually makes a valid comment. Holy crap! Yes, he makes a valid comment. Yes, Dirty Harry sold many firearms, and there's a reason I have multiple Model 29s, and that would be Dirty Harry. Yes, sir, 110%. But Alan will attest that I can shoot a Model 29 and hit pretty dang good in the center with every freaking one I've ever touched. It doesn't matter if it's mine or someone else's. I will take out the center of a target with a Model 29. I love that freaking gun and I love that ROM. Me and 44 Mag are friends.
I mean, sure, it was from a foot and a half away, but I mean,
Can you really argue with this and that? Eh. I had the pleasure of hanging out with Mozart Mike and got to shoot Mozart Mike's Model 29. And yeah, I took out the center of that target like no one else's business, man. And that's what a good Model 29 will do. You put in the hands of someone that can take care of that 44, it'll happen. And Alan did too. Alan took it out pretty dang good as well. He was right there with me.
And I by far am not one of the best revolver shooters. I mean, it's some of the first handguns I ever shot, but I'm just not. I positively am more of a semi-auto guy. Positively.
So for all you guys out there that don't know Alan that well, I know Alan pretty dang good, and I've met Alan multiple times and had the pleasure of shooting with Alan multiple times. And Alan's got to tell you he's a shit shooter, but really, in all honesty, Alan is probably one of the best shooters I've ever met in my life. Alan can literally pick up any pistol and take it and get it right in that target, no matter what. Doesn't matter what it is. And that's semi-auto, revolver, doesn't matter. He really is that good. And he can sit there and lie about it all he wants, but he really is that good. The man's got some skills. He's got some skills. I'm not gonna lie about it. Like seriously, the man's got some skills behind him.
Go ahead with your bad self, bro. See, that's what happens when you hang out with the cholos growing up in LA, bro. Good shit.
Simone says, Simone, you can hit the target, no problem. All the other guys, they have problems hitting the target is because of all that mota ese.
Now,
Órale,
see,
Miklo.
when he shoots the wrist breaker 3000, it's a whole different ordeal.
I'll be honest
And
with
if you guys don't know what the wrist breaker 3000 is, ask Alan, because Alan's the one that came up with that title.
And I have no idea how you daily carried that little son of a bitch. Because to me, I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with that thing. It's one of Scotsman's carry revolvers with
in my pocket right now.
Like this long of a barrel on it or some stupid shit.
2.5 inch.
If you're not careful, you'll burn your eyebrows with just the muzzle flash. It's it's ridiculous, but his ass could shoot the fucking thing.
Yeah, it's like 2.1/8 inch barrel, something like that. I love it.
Snubby 44, is that what you said?
It's a 357, but I love it.
Oh. Yeah, I got a I think it's a 1 3/4 inch 686. Lou Horton edition. Yeah, I don't know. It'll throw fireballs, but it's kind of weird. Like it's like one shot you see a fireball, one shot you don't. I don't know.
All right. No, and I love my 29-2 4-inch too, and I'll carry that in the winter more than anything. I don't generally carry that too much in the summer. Give it another 2 or 3 months, and I'll be carrying it. I'll carry that thing all day long, and I can hit that pretty dang good too. I don't know what it is with revolvers, but I've always had great luck. I've always been a pretty dang good shooter with them. I don't know. I like the heavier trigger pull, I guess. I don't know. It just works for me. You know, when it even in polymer wonders or whatever you want to call them, or steel fired, regular pistols, as long as they got a hammer on them, I usually shoot them better than a regular pistol. I just do. I don't know why. Always have.
Yeah, you were positively a hammer fired guy. With all the shooting I've seen you done, you were, for some oddball reason, and I don't get it. But for some oddball reason, if it's got a hammer, you can shoot that son of a bitch.
Yep, and I'll nail it right dead center, one way or another, every damn time.
Yeah,
Boy,
I only have one
it even
striker
has the
fired in.
eyebrows like he does. Look at that shit.
Fuck yeah, it's gangster, bro. Look at him. I gave him some duck jerky. He loves that shit. Where you going, fool?
Why is he going down in your lap?
I don't know, man.
What are
'Cause
you doing, bro?
I got fucking treats for him, bro. Come
Why are they down there, bro?
Put the treat somewhere else.
on. Come over here. All right, come here. Bruno, come here. Over here. Come on. Get up. Come on. Come on. Come on. Everybody wants to see you. Come on. Come on. Bruno, over
They
here.
just don't want to see you on Mary's lap.
You know, it's been nice to have a little Beretta chat, man. I've been slacking. I only bought one Beretta this whole year so far.
Hey, do you have any Beretta shotguns?
No, but I wish I did. Confession, I don't own a single shotgun.
All right, so let's talk about this because this is an interesting thing that came up here. I don't know, 3 or 4 months back. You picked up what was supposed to be a particular hammer and was not, and
Oh yeah.
you reached out to Beretta. Beretta told you, yes, it is. You told them, no, it's not, and had to make a video in order to prove it to them.
Yeah.
So kind of
it
talk,
was
kind of talk about that a little bit because, and I joke about it, but in all seriousness, I'm not joking. Like Jason Stewart is the freaking Beretta guy. If you have any questions about Beretta, if you have an issue with Beretta, if there's something you want to know about what to change, this, that, the other, ask Jason. Or you can ask me too. I'm kind of in the same realm. I don't do anywhere near what he does, but I have a lot of experience with Beretta. I worked for Beretta for a while. But he has way more than I do as far as Beretta goes. And he is literally the Beretta guy. So talk about that one for a minute.
All right. Yeah. Just to sum that up. I've never said who it was, but I'll just go ahead and say it right now. The issue wasn't with Beretta as buying the parts from. The issue was with LTT Langdon Tactical. Now, like if you have a Beretta and you want to do something, some upgrades, some aftermarket parts, you need to be looking at Wilson Combat or you need to be looking at Langdon Tactical. They kind of coincide, basically. They're friends, and a lot of the Wilson Combat products were actually designed by Langdon Tactical anyways. So either one of those companies will do you good. I've loved Langdon Tactical. I have many Langdon Tactical guns. I've bought in their trigger jobs many times. Beretta came out with a couple years ago, or now at this point, or maybe a year and a half, it came out with what's called a match hammer. And what this hammer actually does is it takes away about 75% of your pre-travel. Okay, so you don't have that long pre-travel that these double action, single action Berettas are known for. And you combine that with their trigger bars that take up the reset, and you have just the most wonderful trigger you've ever seen. But I got a new gun, and I was setting it up to try to do some USPSA with, and I know I just wanted the Langdon Tactical trigger kit from them, and I ordered it with the match hammer, and I put it together, And I pulled the trigger one time and I instantly knew that's not a match hammer. It's not. There's really no numbers, no way to identify. You have to hold what's called an Elite 2 hammer. You have to hold that up and compare it with a match hammer, and there's just a different little leg that's a little longer, and that's the only way to tell. But
can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
So when this happened, I kid you not, Jason texted me and he's like, "Hey, I bought this, and this is not this." And he sent me this, and he sent me that, and he sent me the video before he even posted the video. And I look at it, and I'm watching it. I'm like, yes, you're 100% right. This is not this. And I told him, I'm like, if you have an issue talking to Beretta, let me know, and I will email Beretta too. Because I have a few people that I talk to with Beretta, and yeah, like, dude, no, not a freaking match hammer, period. No, not even close.
Yeah. But the issue was, I called him and told him, hey, it's not right. And they just they said, send me some photographs. So I sent them photographs, and they sent me back and they said, nope, that's a match hammer. And I sent it back. I said, no, it's not. So what I did is I actually had Beretta match hammers of my own in a package that I know are match hammers. I bought them from Beretta. And I swapped the hammers and I put them in that gun, and it worked exactly as I was expecting. The thing is, what you're paying for Langdon Tactical is they're just slightly dressing up and polishing your hammer and your sear. Okay, it doesn't really do anything for trigger pull. It doesn't do anything for the break. It's just simply smoothing up that double action pull. That it's just smoothness. That's all it's doing. But I paid for what I wanted because I wanted their hand touch, stoning on those parts. And I love Langdon Tactical. I'm still not even gonna badmouth them here. But they're trying to judge something off a photograph that you can't judge off a photograph. So that's why I had to make the video. And believe it or not, I was probably in a really bad mood because, like, within a day or two of doing that video, I came down with COVID. So I was out of commission for a while after that. So I was maybe a little sick, a little grumpy at the beginning. And I was a little arrogant on it, a little asshole. But once they saw the video, they were instantly like, oh, here's a return mail label and everything, and we'll fix you up. So, Langdon Tactical does do a great job. But I'll let a little secret out. What I did is I bought an Elite LTT, and I sent it to Langdon and had them do the trigger job on it. And then when they brought it back to me, I took it apart to see what they did. And I took photographs and I looked and I saw what did they polish, what did they touch, what did they do. And it's really not complicated at all. It's really very easy. And to their credit, if you buy their trigger kit offline and do it yourself, it costs the same amount of money as just sending the gun to them, minus shipping, and let them do it. Okay, so I got a real good idea of what they were doing to the gun to improve it, and then I bought 2 or 3 kits for other guns, and I compared the parts, and I've seen a pretty good variance between kits. They're just simply polishing some surface areas and stoning some stuff off, and one kit can vary from the other. So after I had this experience this last December with this trigger job, as much as I love them, I don't do business anymore with Langdon Tactical on their trigger kits, because I went and bought a who makes it? Anyways, I bought a stoning fixture, Power and Custom. I bought a Power and Custom stoning fixture in the kit for Beretta because I happened to watch one time in a Langdon video and I saw what they were doing and I saw them use that exact same fixture. So I was like, okay, I know what you're doing. I went and bought the equipment. So now I just touch up the parts myself and do my own trigger jobs. It's nothing fancy. It's nothing hard to do at all. It's very simple, and it actually only takes a few minutes. But that's one of just the little tricks that I know on what to polish. And I've tried a lot of different things, and I've watched a lot of videos with Ernest Langdon about the Berettas. And like, you want to jump into it, you want to just polish and stone every single piece there is in that gun to think to get the ultimate trigger. But in reality, you don't need to do very much. So I've learned the secret of what you have to do to these guns to make an improvement, and I had a lot of fun learning it, man. So that's just where I am on the Berettas. I love them. I know how I like them. I really don't like them stock unless there's something special about them. But it's I don't know. It's a kind of a knowledge I guess you guys don't have on what it takes to do a trigger job on it. But it's nothing great. It's nothing you can't learn yourself. But that's exactly how I'd say to do it. Go have them do you a trigger job. Take it apart and look at it and see what they did, and you'll be like, wow, I can do that.
It's sad when a lot of these companies don't do what they're supposed to do, man.
This
And,
one,
and we've noticed it more and more over the last year and a half, 2 years, to where these companies ain't stepping up and doing what they're supposed to.
I'll just I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'll tell you on this. This was just a simple packaging mistake, because there's really no way. There's no numbers associated. There's really no way to tell the two parts apart, and it was a newly developed part. So I'll give Langdon the credit on that. It's really not their mistake. I know Ernest Langdon and Amy Langdon probably didn't have anything to do with it. It was just their one or two employees they have out there in the back. It's just a simple mistake, but it just irritated me a little bit. If you would go back and look at your employee records and see how much money I've spent and the very items that I've bought over the years, you shouldn't have questioned me at all when I sent you an email. That was the only thing that kind of ticked me off.
Well, and that's the problem, man. Like, I've sent a couple different companies emails here in the last few weeks, and they question it. And why are you questioning the customer? You literally sent me a product. I paid for it, and you're going to sit there and question me. You shouldn't be questioning the customer. You should be taking care of the customer. And this is one of the big issues that we face here in the last few years has been customer service. And customer service has gone to hell in a freaking handbasket in more ways than one with a lot of companies. And it's across the board. It's not just a small minority. It is the majority. The majority are doing a shit fucking job when it comes to customer service.
Yeah. I just want to make it clear though. I'm not trashing Langdon Tactical. If you have a Beretta, go buy their trigger kit. You will love it. Buy their parts. Hell, go with the Wilson deal. It really doesn't matter. You will love it. I'm not trashing them. They do great work. I just had a bad experience, and it's just kind of like me, man. Once I learn something, I hate to pay somebody else to do something that I know how to do, and that's just simply me. That's not saying I'm better than the employee that's at Langdon Tactical, but I can get the same results on my own and take satisfaction in that on my own. But their stuff is great. I just want to make that clear. I'm not bad mouthing them as a bad company, man. If you got a Beretta, most definitely go to Langdon Tactical site and order away. I'm not bad mouthing them. They know what they're doing. But But
It's just bad when you sit there and tell them, "Hey, this is not what I ordered," and they turn around and go, "Yeah, it is," when it's not. That's bad.
yeah, well, it's kind of a blessing in disguise. Like I said, here's the thing: they sent me the return label, and they would have inspected it, and they would have saw that they didn't send me the right thing. No big deal. I'm sure they would have handled it. But I got COVID, and I had COVID. It wasn't fun. Okay, so at that particular time, there's no way. Like, I'm not taking this gun apart and sending them parts back to them when I'm sick. I don't want to give them COVID. I don't want my COVID cooties on these parts or whatever. So that's right then and there. That's when I decided I'm just going to order my own fixture stoning stuff, and I'm going to do this myself because I could actually do it without the stoning fixture. But when you're working on that hammer hook, I just give it like, man, I'm telling you, on a stone, like 2-3 passes. You just need that fixture to make sure you're square and true. Uh, I just do it myself. I've done 2 or 3 since then. Uh, don't have a problem with it. And actually, to tell you the truth, the last few years I've ordered a lot of trigger jobs in a bag from Langdon Tactical, and I went ahead and put a little extra work into it that they had done already. It's just simply smoothing out contact areas. That's really all it is. You're not changing any geometry on the hammer hooks and the sear hooks or any of that. You're just polishing it up so that long double action pull is nice and smooth. But oh man, you guys know there's triggers you think are good because they're a lightweight pull, and there's this and that, and then there's them trigger pulls when it pulls and it breaks. It just like leaves a hollow feeling in your stomach.
When
Oh,
it's
that's
like
nice.
when it's like butter, man, it's a whole different experience.
Yeah, I hate to sound like cocky again, but I think a lot of people out there don't really know what a super nice trigger is. They may know what a nice trigger is, and because they're used to a factory trigger, but
I can tell you, I'm one of them because I've always had shitty NATO triggers. So
you
yeah,
got the military triggers. But yeah, it just reinforces. There's more to it on the money value when you look at like a nice 1911 or something that's upgraded. That like, man, that's a lot of money. But you got to understand, there's a big difference in that trigger pull.
Well, I've talked about it for years too, and a lot of you guys know I build my own rifles and so on and so forth. And um, whenever I build an AR-15, I buy a pre-built trigger. Well, those pre-built triggers are about $100, and you can buy a super nice trigger for $100, and they break super nice. They are smooth, and they will do the job. Um, there's a lot of people out there that say, no, it's not possible, this, that, the other. No, they're full of shit. Literally, you can buy a $100 trigger and it will do exactly what you want it to do.
Is that what you refer to as a drop-in trigger?
Oh, say that again.
Is that what you would refer to as a drop-in trigger? What you're talking about, a pre-built?
Yeah, it's a drop-in trigger, and I usually pick up hell, what's it called? Shit, I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I'll remember what it is and I'll put it in the description. But basically, they're $100 trigger, and they're a flat face trigger, and they're probably one of the best triggers I've ever come across. They're smooth shooting. The trigger pull is awesome on them, and for the money, you really can't beat it. And I know YouTube doesn't like us talking money and this, that, the other, and putting links and so on and so forth, but I will figure out what the hell the name is of that damn trigger sitting right there somewhere.
The BM15. What trigger did you end up putting in that?
You have
I still
that
haven't
trigger.
figured. that
Yeah,
BM fit, it is it's a flat face trigger, but one of the things that's really bitching about it is it's not just like flat with hard ridges. It's actually beveled all the way around,
all right,
and it's
hang on. I'm
smooth.
looking. I'm looking
And
it up.
and so um, and it's the there's like almost no pre-travel to it at all. There's no over travel to it. Um, to note at all. Reset is absolutely phenomenal, um, and it's easier to come up with those. And that's not a CMG trigger, right? It's not. I forget what it was. Um, but when it comes to hammer fired guns, the triggers are so much can be so much better than striker fired pistols. It's
Uh,
difficult to get a good striker fired trigger. Um,
it's a James Madison tactical trigger is what it is.
there we go. There we
Um,
go.
Sorry,
And
I had to think
it
for a second.
phenomenal
Um,
trigger.
but the James Madison tactical triggers are ridiculously phenomenal. They are superb in every aspect of what they do. You can get the flat faced, which is what I prefer and what I put in the BM15, or you can have the round face trigger. But the James Madison tactical triggers are absolutely freaking phenomenal, and they will cost you $100 or less.
Now, now, but one of the things is likely guys like Mario that have been exclusively trained on a military trigger, they hate them. They hate triggers like that. They're they want that
I
pull
don't.
stick flavor.
Yeah,
A
I
lot
don't
of
know.
guys, a lot of guys, that's they want that 7 pound pull.
Yeah, I mean, I do like a heavier trigger pull because that's what I'm used to. I don't object to anything that's a little lighter. Uh, as far as the trigger goes, I don't oppose of it. I just think if anything, it's like anything else. You have to train it, train with it, and get to know it. And like I'll be honest with you, when I started buying SIGs, I know SIGs have a very particular trigger, and it's a bit more fine tuned. And I liked it, but it took me a while to get used to it because before I wasn't hitting anything because I'm used to big old freaking 7 pound pull like on an
Oh,
M9.
and that's the big thing, man. It's what you're used to. And you know when they come out with these newfangled things and there's a lot of reduced power, then it makes a big difference.
Yeah, that's why when I went to the revolver, it didn't strike me as hard because it's similar. Got long pull and it's more manageable. Um, with the exception of the 500. Fuck that! I don't want to touch that shit again. That thing scared me. Other than that, I'll touch anything else. That's the only fucking gun that's ever made me like I want
You
to shoot
know,
this. It's not
it
fun.
was pretty fun to watch Alan shoot that, and I was gonna shoot it, but at the time my hands were so fucked up, there was no way I was shooting it. Milsort Mike brought that up first to shoot, and by the time I'd gone through the 44 and many others, I was like, "Nah, I'm good, man."
Yeah,
Alan stepped.
I didn't.
Alan shot it, and it was cool to see Alan shoot it. And that thing's got some freaking power behind it, dude.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, and also
And
the
I would
judge is
have.
pretty nice too.
I would have, but my hands were too screwed up. I didn't want to risk, causing more problems.
What was that, a 500?
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
500.
500.
I got a lot of issues with my hands and knees and so on and so forth, and I wasn't trying to make myself any worse. I mean, we still had a great
I'm
day of
sorry.
shooting.
I'm sorry. Did I hear a ambulance?
Yeah, you heard of ambulance. Yes, you did. Yeah, yeah, you did. You did. Where's Daniel when you need him? With that being said, we're getting close to time, so we're gonna start going through the room. Battle Beam. We'll start with you, the man, the myth, the legend, with the greatest eyebrows on YouTube. What do you got, brother?
Oh, well, like I was telling you, still working on the podcast project, and I should be putting out a video soon on that. And as soon as these next couple weeks get over, especially I think after my birthday, I'm definitely gonna start. Getting my presses back up to speed, get them all cleaned up and everything, because they sit in the garage, and right now is entirely too hot for me to go in there and reload. So um I still got quite a bit of rounds left the from the winter that I did, so I still got those to shoot. Oh my god, look at this guy.
I
And
just got home.
you just got home. Okay, well, welcome. Just when getting ready to leave and shit.
Late to the
No,
party.
we're staying out
Late,
here. We're staying out
late
here.
to the party.
All right. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got, man. Appreciate you having me here.
No, appreciate you, brother. And again, anything I have to do to help with the podcast, let me know, man.
I will do, bro. Thanks.
Jason, what you got, brother?
Oh man, thanks for the opportunity to hang out with you guys tonight and all the wonderful people out there in the chat. Like I said earlier, man, this is just a great community of people. If you're new to this crowd, you found the best one on YouTube. And I mean, like Gene calls everybody his tribe. But I just want you to know I love every one of you, man. You're all great people, man. And I wish the world had more of us.
Absolutely, brother. Appreciate you showing up. Appreciate you being here. And if you guys haven't seen Jason's latest videos, go check them out. Kingpin, another myth and legend. One of the great folks out there. What you got, brother?
Oh man, I appreciate you having me. Thank you everybody in the chat for showing up. Real cool just to sit back and have a gun conversation and listen to you guys talk shop. And then obviously super surprise ending. Always excellent to see roll call. I dropped his link out in the chat, so go check his channel out. He's got some phenomenal stuff going on over there.
And since roll call dropped in, I guess since he dropped in late to the fucking party, we'll hang out for a minute and let roll call talk. So, roll call, what you got, man? What's going on?
Nothing, man. I'm sorry. I just got home from work, man. I had to go by the hunting spot. Got a picture of this buck. I mean, then on the way there, I had to dodge more deer. Oh man, it was pretty cool. What were you guys talking about? Anything good?
Oh, we just spent the last 2 hours talking smack about you.
I don't doubt it. My ears were ringing.
And you finally fucking showed up.
Dude, it takes me like almost 40 minutes to get home. And driving and talking on the phone, being on live chat sucks.
All right. Well, we're that time. So why don't you do your outro there? Roll call.
Well, you can find me on YouTube. Not so much Instagram anymore. I'm not on Facebook a whole lot. I am on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I think that's all. Oh, I'm on TikTok too. I get banned off there all the time. So I might be there, I might not. It's all up to their discussion. But yeah, you can find me over there.
All right, brother. Well, we appreciate you showing up, even though you're late and all the rest of it. But we
That's
do
right.
appreciate
CZ,
you.
baby. CZ.
And he does have the CZ hat, and we will give him credit for that right there. Hashtag CZ Life. Yes, sir.
For
Uh,
life.
he's got the hat. I give him the credit. Credit where credit is due. With that being said, guys, I appreciate everyone out there in the side chat. All the comments, thank you guys, and for those of you that threw in and donated to help out Lakeview, thank you, and thank you. And again, if you can, shoot me an email or a text message if you have my phone number and let me know you want to help donate towards that. And as soon as we hit the $2,000 mark on that Winchester rifle, we will give that Winchester rifle away. As of this time, we are sitting right at $1,000, so we're halfway there. So thank you to all of you that have donated so far. Again, we're halfway there. We will make it happen pretty quick, and that puts us right almost at halfway to the $10,000 mark. We're right at $4,000, so that's pretty incredible. You guys have been rocking it out, and I cannot thank you enough. Again, it's something that myself and Alan and many others over the years have dedicated to helping people out there and doing this and doing that, and you guys have always stepped up to the plate, and always makes me proud, and I know it makes Alan proud too. So I cannot thank you guys enough. With that being said, I am going to throw it over to the man, the myth, the legend, AllenBePro, Janice Gay, to take us out right.
Unmute, Baboso.
My check for that Winchester is going to be in the mail tomorrow morning. And I'm coming on strong, folks. So you better throw in or throw down, one of the two. I've got a whole bunch of Armory Craft stuff coming in for another 365. It's going to get completely pimped out with Armory Craft stuff. So I won't make a single video on that at all. Don't look forward to any of it because I'm not going to make it. But what I am going to do is to tell you to keep them magazines loaded and one in the chamber. Woo!